Yes, so thanks everyone for joining in. We have quite a few people who've joined in to Town Hall number 6. Oh, and the amazing new intro from the team and the new set.
Yeah, what up? Can you hear us? Don, okay? Everybody okay? Can you hear us? We're excited.
Yes, so we can see, we can hear Karam and Shubes. So super excited to get started today. There's a lot of exciting stuff we're going to be talking about. Karam has a lot of stuff that he's going to take us through. So as always, we are recording this call. We'll upload the recording in the next 24 hours. If you guys have any questions, make sure to type them in chat. We'll make sure to answer all your questions at the end of the session. And if you guys want to jump on stage and ask us a question in person, just raise your hand. You can see the hand icon in the top right of the screen. Click on that, and we will invite you up to stage to ask your question. So, yes, welcome everyone to Town Hall number 6. And Karam, take it away.
There we go. Let's kick things off. So, welcome to the town hall. This is our sixth town hall. Things are good. We're gearing up for our launch. We've got a lot of updates to share with you. We hope to go through a bunch of things in detail. And yeah, let's kick things off. Um, Okay, so the first things first is I just wanted to cover the super big, broad metrics to give you a sense of how everything's going. I apologize for the design that you're seeing in our presentation. I went on a chat GPT generation spree, and this is what we've ended up with. But it's fun. So important things I'm going to highlight with my mouse. So the first thing is we're in a really healthy place. We have at least 2 years of runway, so we've got time to build things out and make things happen. We've got a ton of users on our network. At any given moment, there are about 5,000 or so devices that are connected concurrently and on the Dabba network, browsing the internet. Where even with the about 1,500 or so hotspots that have been deployed so far, we're consuming 7 terabytes pretty much per day. And that's insane. To give you a sense of scale, a comparable project, let's say Helium, with I think about 14,000 or so Wi-Fi hotspots, is doing about 3.5, 4 TB per day. With a tenth of the size of that network, we're pretty much almost double that amount of data. So this number shows data consumption is going up like crazy and will continue to do so. We're in 2 cities already that you should now be able to see on our new Explorer. And we'll be launching our third city next month, which is really exciting. Shubes, anything you want to add with basic numbers? And then I'm going to give you guys a quick run through the Explorer and the changes that are coming. Okay, so awesome. I'm just going to skip through to what the current Explorer looks like. So it's got highlights of a lot of numbers, and I hope you all take the time to go through it. The reason I'm showing you the Explorer right now is so now we have the base system in place, and all of the basic numbers and the ability to browse the network is there. What we're doing now is we're going to take an iterative approach to improving the hell out of our Explorer. Um, this is a solid base, and over time, we're going to improve its design. We're going to gamify it. There are going to be more features that people can use. That are going to be ways for developers to interact and that sort of thing. So I just want to give you a quick overview. So we got designs ready. We'll be implementing them over the next week or so, hopefully, something like that. So we're going to iteratively go through it. You will see this across pretty much everything that we do. Now that we have a base in place, it is entirely about continuous and constant improvement. So from the existing design of our Explorer, which you can see is a lot more sort of cluttered and there's no hierarchy to visual data, the colors are off and that sort of thing, we're going to move to something that represents the network's colors a little better, black and yellow, that sort of thing. Small improvements all around to highlight data that's important. Pretty much every single page is going to go through a change. So for example, our local cable operator will have more visual material, more video, give the community a better chance to learn which operator they'd like to connect to their network to. And we're doing really fun things like we're going to innovate on how we present where hotspots are. So because one of the things that we've learned looking at explorers of different communities is everyone has this top-down view of a map view and then sort of grids or cells on it and that sort of thing. That works well when you have LoRa and IoT or things that have longer amounts of range. It really doesn't make sense to present things that way if you're doing hotspots which have a limited range of, a couple of 100 feet at most. And given that a lot of our installations are high-rise buildings, we wanted a way to find a map representation that did a better job of showing the number of hotspots and showing the amount of coverage and that sort of thing. So this is a really good example of the kind of continuous improvement and iteration you're going to see on the Explorer as time goes on. Yeah, so we'd love feedback on that. Okay, on to the next thing. So we were at Consensus last month, John Shubes and I, and we set up a booth, and Abe was an amazing experience. You'll see, obviously, that the inspiration for our set is coming from the booth that we set up at Consensus. Consensus was a ridiculous experience. I mean, more than 1,000 people came by our booth. I think we were serving on the order of 300 or 400 chais for people, and I think we had about 150 people come up to us every day going, best booth design, coolest looking project, most innovative project. This includes people from the organizers, other booth designers, tons of people. Um, so we also got a chance to meet lots of other deepen projects. And one of the things that we learned after meeting at least like 100 other projects and founders of other teams and learning the lessons that they've taken and the rest of that, we've learned that we've got ridiculously strong fundamentals. As a project, we've got strength in the areas that matter, which is fundamentally demand, revenue, great market, that sort of thing. Uh, Don was also there. Shubes was also there. Don, anything you want to say about how your consensus experience was?
Hectic. I mean, if we were to summarize, the entire experience was hectic. I think we had a great booth in terms of people want to speak to us. It was really interesting. And just the three of us, I don't think it was enough people to talk to the number of people that were there. So it was great to reach out to so many people across, different communities and stuff like that. But yeah, summarized, it was hectic.
Yeah, awesome. And I think apart from the main event, I think we attended quite a few side events, especially deepen side events. And the unofficial feedback that we got from a ton of people was basically pretty much every deepen project has stuff to learn from the way that we're handling demand and that sort of thing. So basically, we got a chance to meet a lot of people from the wider crypto community, and the general response to the project was really, really good. Okay, now to dive into some detail. And I think Shubs is going to have a lot to say over here as well. I'll just run quickly through the highlights and then we can get to each point. And I'm sure you'll all have a lot of questions, but uh, let me just do a quick overview. So, as you know from the last town hall, we have spent the last 2 months making sure that the project is compliant from a regulation perspective in terms of utility of the token and everything else, because we've got a long-term view on this, right? India's a big market. We can build for the next 20 years. There are hundreds of millions of connections, so you need a solid foundation. Um, so one of the things that we learned in that process was we found a better way to structure and present the distribution of the token. So from the version 1 of the tokenomics that we shared a couple of months ago and everyone has seen, basically most of it remains the same. It's just that we've highlighted and enhanced the utility of the Dabba token. The second thing is because of the incoming demand that we've seen on for the hotspots after season 1 and what's happening now in season 2, which I'll talk about in a bit, we've raised the price of a hotspot a little bit. So right now we've split up the new payment structure to be anyone can buy a hotspot for $199 on our website. And after the token launches, they'll have to buy $100 worth of Dabba tokens from a DEX or wherever in order to activate the hotspot. The way the new system is going to work is hotspot owners now get all of the token rewards. And you basically compensate and reward the other stakeholders on the network, especially the LCO, for providing the service to you, for maintaining, installing the hotspot, and that sort of thing. Um, so we believe that this process is good because number one is it introduces a greater amount of accountability in the system because now all of the other stakeholders are aligned to make sure that their service is good so that hotspot owners reward them because remember all rewards are now coming to you, the hotspot owner. The second thing is as we onboard LCOs in this system, uh, in a marketplace system, they should lower rates that LCOs are willing to offer to say maintain your hotspot and lead to greater competition. Now, this process is really going to be more for the people that buy in season two. For all of you that have bought in season one, basically your price and the amount of tokens that you need in order to activate your hotspot is going to be grandfathered in. The launch of this new system will come with the TGE, which should be roughly in July, which I'll get into detail in a bit. I'm just going to quickly switch over to the Git book just so that you can see and to make sure if you get a chance, please go to the Git book. We have detailed out all of these things more in detail. When you do get a chance to see, you'll see that the structure is basically the same. It's just that all rewards go to you, the hotspot owner first, and then you in turn distribute those rewards to other stakeholders. And we've introduced an onboarding burn mechanism. There's also an NFT, but we'll get into the details of that in the next hotspot. But suffice to say that we think that this is a better system for everybody. It's more sustainable for the network. It gives you, the hotspot owner, more control. It aligns incentives of other stakeholders far better. And more importantly, it is way more compliant from a regulatory perspective. So that's just a quick thing. Anything you want to add to this?
No, I think you've summed it pretty well. The major reason is to present a system which is scalable, which is distributed in nature by default, and essentially presents everyone the freedom that they want to work with. So it's not dependent to one, ISP or LCO that Wi-Fi Dabba is in the beginning. It's basically giving you as a user the opportunity to work with anyone and spend your DBT token, which brings certain buy pressures right upfront, and also gives you that freedom of to work with whichever LCO you want to be working with. At the same time, it becomes more compliant in terms of the legal requirements, whether it's how we test, whether it's the whole scalability of different geographies that we want to be operating in near future. So it's a great mechanism that balances all the requirements both from the legal and scalability of the project perspective.
Yeah, and there's also a new getting started page on the Explorer that explains this in way more detail. So this will give you a clear idea. We're definitely going to do a whole series of town halls and videos explaining this clearer. You're going to have an entirely new interface when you log into it, greater degree of control, that sort of thing. So yeah, we think it's good for everyone. And it really doesn't materially change the rewards that you get. In fact, I'd argue that over time, as more competition comes in, the amount of rewards that you get as a hotspot owner will increase.
Yeah, talking about the reward, it certainly gives you all the control. You will have the visibility on what how's the network performing, and based upon that, you are the one who are allocating and taking that effort. It does bring little more of work from your end, which can be automated as we build down the road. But it certainly gives you the absolute control on your hotspots as you scale your mini telecom empire.
Yeah, like I think a concrete way of talking about this is in the previous iteration of the tokenomics, right? On a protocolish sort of level, we had governed saying, a local cable operator would get this percentage, a bandwidth provider would get that percentage. And it was really tightly baked into the system. But what this new system does is you, the hotspot owner, get all the tokens. And then if all hotspot owners, for example, say that, hey, here's the minimum floor that we're willing to pay or reward an LCO with to install and maintain the hotspot, then the market will have to respond with lower rates rather than the protocol tightly sort of coupling this sort of thing. So I think a lot of our thinking was around that.
Absolutely, yeah. It decentralizes from the perspective of hotspot owners now as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So like I said, more details to come soon. If you get a chance, please read the Git book and the getting started page for season two on the Explorer. Okay, so we just recently launched season two. Our goal is to scale by 10x and get to 10,000 hotspots. In the last couple of weeks, we've sold 1,000 hotspots already. If you want to see the kinds of rewards that are available for season two, from the Explorer, or sorry, from the Git book, there is a calculator that links to season two. and you can see exactly the sort of Genesis rewards that season 2 people would get, hotspot owners would get before it launches live. And of course, you'll see that if you came in on season 1 earlier, the rewards are better, but season 2 rewards are very competitive as well. We see the response so far for people that want to get involved in the network and purchase hotspots only going up. And yeah, we hope to have dramatic progress in the number of hotspots sold, which actually comes back to a point on the Explorer. So as the upgrades of the Explorer happen, you'll start to see more and more live data. For example, we've sold more hotspots, but right now the Explorer is designed to show what's live. So it doesn't show you, hey, more hotspots have been sold than what you're actually seeing in the system till those hotspots go live. So there's a bunch of little bit of code that needs to be put into place that gives everyone a clearer picture showing that season 2 sales are happening. This is the rate that they're which happening, who's buying, how's it going to get integrated in the system, that sort of thing. Um, yeah, you'll see that in the next iteration of the Explorer over the next couple of days, couple of weeks, and as things go on. But yeah, season 2, good. Don, anything you want to say with season 2?
Uh, yeah. Yeah, so far season 2 is looking good. Hotspots are selling, people are super interested. I think as with season 1, the hurdle will always be how can we better message and make sure people understand the network and stuff like that. So that's definitely stuff we'll be working on, and as we work on those partnerships and the things that help with that, we see those sales numbers ticking upwards much faster.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so on to the next bit. Okay, apologies for the terrible mess that this image is. Like I said, I completely went wrong with ChatGPT and image generation, and yeah, things didn't go well. But okay, so let's talk about generally the sort of broad approach that we're taking to the launch of the token. So first things first, we're generally on track to launch the token in July. Testing on testnet's going really well, development's going really well, administrative work's going really well. Um, Things look really healthy because one of the things that we noticed after talking to a lot of projects. So one of the things that both Shubs and I have done over the last 4 or 5 weeks is there have been a couple of projects that have launched their token recently, and we talked to pretty much all the founders of these projects, about 2 weeks after their token launched, to while it was fresh, to get a sense of, okay, in the last month to the build up to your launch, what did you guys do after 2 weeks after the token launch? What do you feel that you had done differently? What could have been improved? And what were the main lessons that we learned? And it really boils down to two or sort of three lessons that we learned that was common across multiple founders of recently launched tokens. And their token performance varied. Some of the tokens did well, some of them did okay, some of them absolutely tanked. But what's interesting is the feedback was absolutely dead bang common. Everyone said exactly the same thing. So thing number one, they said we should have done 100 times more marketing than we did. Whatever you think effort you are putting into your marketing, max that out by 100x. And I'll get to what we're doing with marketing and how we intend to dramatically scale that a little later in the presentation. But that was one core lesson one. Core lesson number two was everybody launched their token, and the regret that they had was they did not have immediate utility for that token. And so people would just sort of get the token and then immediately dump it. So one of the regrets everybody had was have things like staking in place, have other utility for your token. And we've got great features coming soon. So one of the things that we're focused on is making sure we have things like staking, things like vaults, clear utility to the token like I managed. You'll need tokens in order to activate your hotspots, whole bunch of other things. So that was lesson number two. And lesson number three was the mistake that everybody said that they made was they went overboard with randomly airdropping tokens to anyone and everyone for even the most minuscule reason. And that was a bad thing to do. So one of the good things that we have done is we've had the discipline that the only people receiving tokens so far are people that have bought hotspots, part of the Genesis, early backers, things like that. There have been no random airdrops whatsoever. Um, so there are no extraneous people in the ecosystem who are not providing core utility to the service and are just here to be a degen. We've got a really good community with a long-term view. So our focus is very clearly to launch on Solana, to launch on a DEX first, and then build up volume, build up credibility, and a couple of months down the line, launch on centralized exchanges. Now, we've already had a tremendous amount of interest from centralized exchanges coming in, offering us services on how to help list and all of these sorts of things, but we're going to take this stuff step by step. One of the avenues that we're looking at launching on, and we'd love your opinion, is things like Jupyter's Launchpad. We've got a chance to talk to a bunch of people there. We've seen all of the projects that have come in. We've talked to founders who have launched on the Jupyter Launchpad, and it seems like a good place to start. We're going to focus seeing if we can get some exposure there and seeing how it goes. We're evaluating all of the other launchpads as well. And we'll have more detail on this once we are able to share some thoughts on modeling and that sort of thing. Just shout out to Senate Finance, who's helping us design our token. They're doing a really good job. Or rather model the token flow, not so much design it. But yeah, we think that DEX first, centralized exchange later, pick a good launchpad, do well on the launchpad, and the token should be okay. Anything you want to add over here?
Us, it should help us, get the sustainability in our token pricing in the short and the long term as well. And of course, the kind of data burn that we are seeing on a daily basis should help us further. We are intending to burn 100% of the revenue that comes in through the generation of the data burn, the data credits. So keeping all these things combined together, I think we are in a good position to start with.
Yeah, speaking of which, one of the iterations you'll see fairly quick on the Explorer is the revenue figure there is completely wrong. It doesn't take into onboarding fees. It doesn't take into account a whole bunch of things. If you see a number and you're like, why is that number so low? Please wait a little bit. That number will be corrected pretty quick and will reflect the reality. And we'll have the history of how that burn has occurred. So you'll be able to see exactly what is burning and why. That was also one of the lessons that we learned in the feedback that we've gotten from the Explorer thus far. But yeah, launch looking good, launch looking solid, tons of interest around token pre-sales, tons of interest going. People want to buy as soon as we launch. We've spent a lot of time architecting and thinking about, like, for example, Meteora's DLMM pool. Because one of the things that you see in common, and it seems, and we'd love your opinion on this, is every project goes through the standard spike up, dramatic fall, and then an actual sort of even long road where the token genuinely establishes its actual value. We've seen that a lot of launchpads and a lot of dexes try to dampen that sort of spike and drop. Doesn't look like anyone has succeeded particularly well, but we have some good ideas of how best to avoid that. So the natural price of the token is reflected from the beginning and has access and availability to everyone and is just not overrun by bots. But fingers crossed. No one solved that really well, but we hope to minimize it dramatically.
I think we have also decided this cautiously to not indulge into random airdrops, which should help us ease down the initial sell pressure. And of course, the kind of community we are trying to build over here is we hope that they are long-term backers in the project, so there is no upfront, dilution that we see onto the decks where we intend to provide the liquidity initially as well. So all those things combined should help us create a successful launch. But of course, time will tell how it goes. But we are quite positive about at this stage.
Yeah, and we'll do a deep dive into exactly which decks, exactly what are the mechanics, how is this thing going to work. Maybe 2 or 3 town halls down the road, which we're now going to do way more regularly very soon. Okay, next. Okay, so we've got a ton of focus. And like I said, one of the things that we have learned clear feedback from everyone is be way more aggressive and push way more when it comes to marketing and spreading the word on the project. We haven't done that much because we've had this feeling of don't push the message out too much because ultimately we've just up until very recently, we've been promising, saying coming soon, coming soon, coming soon, right? But now we have hotspots that are live. Now there's an explorer. Now you can actually see what's happening and that sort of thing. So we're way more confident of spreading the message because now we're able to point to concrete real world usage and say, look, this is what the system is, this is how it works, and that sort of thing. So there are three really big, broad ways of building engagement and then multiple channels in each one of those. And I'm going to go through some of those ideas that we're kicking around, partnerships that we're working on, and that sort of thing very quick. And I think Don will also jump in and have a lot to say on this one. Okay, so the first thing is focus on building the ecosystem and expanding the ways that people can interact with, contribute to, and be part of the project. Now, we haven't done anything along these lines, and so we've got a ton of work in a surface area to build up. So examples are a higher deal of gamification and interaction on the Explorer. Tons of people should be able to come in and, for example, map areas where possibly things need connectivity or other tasks that help build out our audience. We haven't exposed our developer platform as yet. We haven't started with NFTs. We haven't started with a ton of different ways that people can interact with the project and help build it out way more. We're going to build a lot of those tools and ecosystems. Like a really good example is the Quest system that Sanctum used before they launched on the Jupyter Launchpad. They had a whole series of things that community could do to help things move forward, and they got a great level of response. We haven't built any of these fun Web3 tools, and we're going to do that. The second area that there's going to be a dramatic improvement that we're putting a ton of resources behind these sorts of things is build partnerships. So one of the strengths that we have that's unique in the Deepen ecosystem and even broadly crypto that we learned, especially during consensus while talking to other co-founders of other projects, is that we have a ton of demand and a ton of distribution ability in India that other projects would like to have access to and be part of. So to give you an example, I'm sure that there are a ton of people in our community that have bought hotspots that, for example, also own a Deepen Weather project device. Right. So we've got tons of founders from these other projects that have come and said, hey, you've got amazing distribution in India. And we might offer something like a bundle where you buy a couple of hotspots and you get a weather device or let's say a mapping device or that sort of thing. And we'll bundle and install that for you for free to give you, well, not for free, but I was going to talk about the details. I can see she's
I don't
going.
know you.
What are you talking about? But we'll have details of that coming soon. But basically, the idea is our distribution and reach, it's really easy for us when we're installing a hotspot at a location to put in a weather device, to put in a dash cam mapping device, to put in analytics devices, put in tons of other sensors, right? So
Yeah, I think last decade of our experience with deploying these devices has given us that exposure and that the understanding of the operation capabilities required, plus the entire ecosystem, the local Indian ecosystem. That exposure has given us those capabilities, and we have now built embedded them in our DNA as we speak, right? And at the same time, the whether you call it a boon or a bane, but Indian population and the kind of data demand plus the if you talk about number of cars on the road, so the entire the economy plus the ecosystem gives us that advantage to take advantage of the situation and really bring other projects over here when we can deploy and manage those as well. So yeah, it's a good thing.
yeah, and but to be clear, this is not something saying, "Oh my God, Dabba's now going to go around rolling out every kind of device everywhere and that sort of thing." No, we're going to take this in a very systematic, step-by-step approach in a way that makes sense for our community and other communities that we would want to engage with. We've also then moving on to other things that we're going to be able, just basic marketing things that we haven't done that we're going to do. Now my schedule and Shoot's schedule is full of podcasts that we have now agreed to be on. You're going to see us hopefully in your YouTube feed and your Spotify feed and everywhere where there's going to be a giant push where we're going to dive into detail all about Dabba and all of the popular podcasts and everywhere else and we can get coverage. We've got a ton of really interesting tasks, quests, and that sort of thing for both you, the community, and other communities in crypto that we're going to engage with that will allow, again, people to interact with the project in a more meaningful way. So, like, one of the interesting discussions to talk about, like, what the initial set of people that are buying hotspots and how that's going to expand and the rest of that is we've barely made a dent talking to the entire Deepin community. So we're doing that now. We're integrating into all the other Deepin platforms. You'll see that there are a lot of people aggregating with dashboards and this and that where you get more exposure. You'll see us start to pop up everywhere. The second thing is because of this unique strength that we have where you as the owner of a Deepin device are not the person physically installing it yourself, there's a much wider audience in crypto, DeFi people that are running, for example, Akash, have to do the physical effort and install the device themselves. So we'll expand from the core Deepin audience to that slightly broader audience. Then there's an entire strategy that we'll be rolling out with the sort of Web 2 audience, which is most of the people in the world. Like, if we sort of step back and look at, how did we know or why do we think at Dabba that people will help contribute to this project and will help build connectivity by buying hotspots? It started with engineers from Netflix, Google, Apple, all the giant FANG companies that reached out to us and said, hey, we'd like to be part of your project. And that's really where hotspot sales started. So there's an entire community of sort of techno savvy people that in the Web 2 world that would be happy to purchase hotspots and that sort of thing. So we're going to have a giant strategy geared towards them. So I'm really talking sort of high level things like we said, building the ecosystem, building our partnerships, like I talked about with other Deepin projects and other ways, better community engagements. Yes, okay, I have to apologize. We've done a crappy job of engaging and marshaling the community. We're going to be better than that. The reason, again, was just nervousness of having constantly with every town hall or every question on Discord going, yes, coming soon, launching soon, coming soon. Now that the network is in testnet, TG is going to happen soon, mainnet's happening really soon. We've got, in fact, Naru and Ankur have had great ideas of really cool, innovative ways to engage and marshal the community to perform specific tasks in ways that other projects haven't done. You're going to see a ton of innovative work come from us and really fun things for you all to do, we think. So, Don, you want to jump in here? Because you're going to be doing a lot of this work.
Yeah,
First
so
thing first, where's the merch?
Yeah,
where is the merch? I'll come to the merch, yes. But yeah, just talking about marketing and initiatives that we're going to be taking, especially in the coming weeks to months. I think Karam pretty much touched based on everything, but the again, going back to what's important is building up ecosystem and partnerships, building up that community, because even as we move forward with the more initiatives we want to take, having that muscle power behind our community, and um, that's going to be super important for us. So just like Karam said, we're looking at a lot of partnerships, cross community partnerships. We want to do more Web3 activities. We're building out some quests and other projects. We're speaking to a bunch of projects to see how we can get collaborations up and running. So yeah, the next couple of months are going to be very hectic, but very fun and exciting at the same time. We're also going to start scheduling our town halls on a more, um, regular basis, and we're going to have, different sets of calls. So we'll have calls with hotspot owners, a general call, and we're also going to have like an office hour. So people who are new to the project to understand the project better. We want to start putting in more, education initiatives as well, so people can just understand the entire network better. So great things coming up over the next weeks and months for sure. And we definitely want to talk to the community more and more beforehand when we're approaching different projects. Like, for example, Karam talked about the interest in Jupe and stuff like that. We want to be able to have those conversations with the community and get feedback and see what people's thoughts are and things, the initiatives that we want to take as well. And merch, everyone is super excited about merch and are waiting for merch. The update there is pretty much everything is done. We were ready to ship out, last week, but unfortunately, one of our vendors kind of screwed up. a big chunk of some of the merch that we had to send out. So we're just debating right now whether we want to send it without those items or get them remade, and we'll have an update probably next week to see how that'll go by. But we're 99% there. Merch is almost out the door. I will be delivering them soon on my sleigh across the globe very soon. So yes, keep an eye out for merch, and we'll update you very soon.
Yeah. All I heard was merch coming soon for the 10th time in the last 6 months. But fair enough. It's looking good. I've seen the merch box and it's got cool stuff. It's almost ready, almost there. Oh, yeah. Like here's an example, for example. Correct. Good point. Okay. I think that's pretty much most things that we want to cover. We should jump into Q&A, but I guess the highlight and the takeaway from this particular town hall, to keep it really simple, is project is in very good shape. Future looks very good. Token generation event generally on track. Uh, Entire focus has now shifted from building and getting that basic infrastructure up to now you will see a heavy amount of marketing, communication, engagement, scale, and growth, and yeah, that sort of thing. And I think now is a good time to jump into any questions that anyone may have.
Yeah, so guys, if you have questions, please ask those questions. You can ask them in chat. If you want to ask a question, if you want to talk to us and ask a question, you can see hand raise icon on the top right. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions. Sorry, Shubs, you were
We
saying
have
something?
the no, I was just saying in the chat we have the first question. Referrals help a lot with marketing and spreading the word. Yes, we are very soon coming up with our affiliate program. Don is going to be publishing the details very soon, so it's in our pipeline.
Yes. So referrals and affiliates, two very important things. We're again, like I said, we're looking at collaborations where we'll be pushing affiliates and referrals for hotspot owners themselves. So these are things we're working on and we'll have out very soon.
Yeah, and we're like just starting cool new things with if anyone's on Farcaster, or please hit me up and we should connect over there as well. Farcaster also has this concept called frames, which now has become Solana has just got it where you can now do on-chain transactions within X or Twitter uh, in a really sort of native way. So we're going to come up with these really cool new distribution methods that are just coming up as we speak. And yeah, you'll see very innovative referral and affiliate programs done hopefully in a smoother, newer way than the current system. So yeah, super excited about that.
Macon Bank, I'm not sure if it's a question or a statement, but he said Blinks. So yes, Blinks is pretty cool. That is
Yeah,
something we've been looking at as well.
I have been testing programming blinks and Farkas frames since yesterday. So you will see a rollout of that pretty damn soon. No, and like you notice that in our project, we haven't incorporated NFTs meaningfully. You will now see a meaningful incorporation of NFTs into the project, and we hope to bring more utility to the way NFTs have been done so far as well. So, like doing these sorts of things is what I mean. In a concrete sort of protocol level, you'll see us expand how we integrate into other, not only deepen projects, but other crypto projects going forward. We're going to be doing hacker houses here locally. Uh, yeah, there's a ton of real world events that we're going to be part of. You'll pretty much soon see at least one of us at any of the major conferences going forward. Yeah, just major shift now happening from building out infrastructure to actually rolling things out.
Macon Bank has another question. Shubs, you want to see his question?
So, season two ends in a couple of days. Will there be a season three, or we wait upon TG and the mainnet? I don't really get that, but season two continues till the time the devices are sold out. So as we updated, we are close to, I think we have crossed 1,000 unit mark, but still there are 90% of the devices to be sold. So season two continues till the time we sell all the devices out.
Yeah, like to put it more clearly, season two continues till the TGE, and we should sell them out
Yes,
till that
that's the plan.
happens, and that's very shortly Not so much July 1st, but in the month of July.
Yeah, so guys, again, if you have any questions, make sure to ask your questions in chat. Okay.
The date that you're referring to is initially the season two for the calculation purposes, but that continues till the time the PG happens for season two owners. So if you purchase a device in season two, let's say on 5th of May or rather 10th of May, which was the starting day of season two, your rewards, which is 100 tokens per day, continues till the time the TGE is triggered. So till then, the season two rewards continue for your devices.
Yeah, so basically, TGE will extend to sometime over July. That's what we're aiming for, and we'll keep updating to on progress on how we're getting towards that.
Yeah, and obviously it's in our best interest and everyone's best interest to have the TG as soon as possible, and we're nearly there. Almost in any day now, but of course we'll give you a rollout plan before that, but very, 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 very quickly. As usual, paperwork takes more time than one expects. That's about it, really.
Awesome. I think we're way over time. Again, guys, if you have any last minute questions, we're happy to answer those questions.
Oh,
Okay. M. Davis has a question that he's typing in.
yeah.
And Studer one.
Also, yeah, generally, can you guys hear the traffic noise, or is that getting picked up by the mic, or is it clean enough? One
No,
of the
because
nice
now
things about
you're not using that mic. You're using your headphone mic now.
what? Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
The great thing about tech, we set up everything, test it for a while, and the moment you need it, everything decides to crap out.
yeah. Just let you all know, we bought fancy lights. We bought a really nice camera. We bought fancy mics. Oh well,
Yes.
one thing
Yeah.
at a
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, that's generally how tech works. You can test it as much as you want, but when you actually need it to work, that's when it decides to act up.
Yeah, but I think the one thing, like the sign of commitment that we want this set to show, and as it'll improve over time, is we're now going to improve the quality of production and quantity of production and consistency of brand and consistency of message and that sort of thing as time goes on. Oh wait, we should read that aloud. That's
Yeah.
what.
Remember,
You do one. I'll read the
every
question.
studio's
You take the question. Okay, question for end user privacy. With the updated maps, would individuals who own a router be able to select rather or not their router shows up in the more new pinpointed method? Yeah, I mean, the goal is to preserve your privacy and find a balance that it works out on.
But it's going to be random names, right? It's not going to be disclosing who exactly owns.
Yeah, but let's say which one of the things that we will end up doing, which is not leaderboard necessarily right now, but in a lot of ways, you should be able to click and see, hey, this wallet owns these many hotspots, and these hotspots in are all of these different locations. And in that case, you may not necessarily want to say, I own this super competitive one, or it's a great question. We'll find a balance. We don't have a specific. If you've got a suggestion, I'm totally open to that suggestion. Oh, for the location owner, yeah. So we will have a fuzzing distance for the location owner. For the hotspot owner, is how I interpreted your thing. Yeah, yeah, like if it's in somebody's house, or for example, we're going to have a system where it sort of fuzzes within 100, 200-meter radius and shows it there, and we'll have a little tiny icon that illustrates to you that, hey, this is not exactly the location that's it at. If you think there's a better way
But
to,
why would do that?
do you
Right?
want
You need to be
publicly in your house showing it has a router?
why? What's wrong with that?
Some people are more thing about their privacy.
Um, you have a network device that is sitting in particular house. So how does that impact privacy?
Uh, This is the difference between the evil technical hacker type person and the uh, more operations and business oriented person. So you've given me a new surface area. I know that router is in your house. So if I'm targeting you, I now have a new thing that I know I can target that I didn't know before, for example, or crazy stalkers, or like a million
Fair enough.
reasons. Uh, Especially as we expand globally. Okay, but yeah, that was a bit of a tangent. So I think we're pretty much extended our
Yeah.
time more than.
Yeah, definitely. We're definitely over time. So yes, guys, if you still have questions, make sure to drop your questions in general chat. We will keep answering your questions as usual. Over the next week, we'll start, Ankur and I will start sharing schedules for, the upcoming town halls, the different things we want to discuss, and we're going to start organizing those things very soon. Lots of updates over the coming weeks for everything that Karam just talked about, including our marketing collaborations, so on and so forth. Sorry, Shubs, you had something to say?
Merch.
Merch, yes, and updates with merch. Yes, so it's almost there. The Everything's in the bag. We just need a couple more bits and pieces, and it'll be out soon. Yes, merch is coming. But yes, thanks everyone for joining in. Um, Please ask your questions in general chat. We'll be happy to answer them. Recording will be up in the next 24 hours, and we will share it on the announcement channel soon. So I think that's about it. Anything else you guys want to add in before we close out?
No, I think we're good. You're going to see more of us in the Discord channels as going forward. But yeah, otherwise, so far so good.
Awesome. Thanks everyone for joining in. Have a great morning, afternoon, night, wherever you are, and we will see you in the next one.
Yep. Thanks, everyone. See ya.